Hey everyone, welcome to Talent on Tap. I am Brendan Brown. I head up recruiting at LinkedIn, and I am very excited to welcome Leona McCharles to the show. She is the VP of Global Talent Acquisition at Royal Bank of Canada.
Yep.
And we are going to dig into some very important topics, all based around what's going on in the world of digital disruption and digital transformation. So welcome. Talk to us a little bit about your background before we jump in. I know you've come from a sort of a different path into recruiting.
Sure. I came from tech strategy enablement and technology strategy work. So the background experience is around transformation and importantly focusing on how we help the organization enable a digital disruption and support digital disruption, which many organizations are going through right now.
Talk to us a little bit about sort of the context of when you came in, ultimately what you're trying to solve for the organization.
Sure. RBC is an organization, is 80,000 globally. It's a large bank that's distributed across numerous offices. We have about 10,000 individuals in our tech organization and who are incredibly focused on how do we prepare ourselves to be a digitally enabled relationship bank. With that, you need to think differently about future skills that are available. Mm-hmm. And so importantly, when I came into the role, I spent a lot of time trying to think about how do we apply the technology, strategy thinking, and product development into our own recruitment world. So we brought a lot of the practices over from the tech organization into recruitment. Importantly, thinking about treat recruitment like a product development and think like a marketer. Think about how we apply design thinking and some of those practices into the way that we focus on the candidate experience in the employee journey. So we actually have a design thinking team in our organization who think about the end-to-end experience and how do we focus on improving that and getting the right value, but also thinking about meeting the needs and emotional needs of the candidate as they're going through that process.
In terms of design thinking, maybe for those that don't know what design thinking is,
Sure.
or thinking like treating recruiting like a product, give me a few specifics on how that may manifest.
If you are thinking like a product developer, mm-hmm. The principle is to say, look from the outside in, look from the lens of the consumer. And in this case, the consumer is our candidates, and the products that we're developing are not only the jobs, so you think differently about how work gets packaged, mm-hmm. but also the experience of them being able to get access to those jobs. One of the key points that I really try to help the team focus on is try to eliminate that point to point. So having an individual like yourself going in and finding the specific job that meets your needs, because the perfect job is going to be difficult to find. It's the needle in the haystack. Mm-hmm. But if we think like product developers and understand your needs and the skills and the capabilities that you bring to the table, we might be able to serve up opportunities to you that you might not even have known existed.
Got it. So talk to us a little bit more about how that may manifest in either your process or just the day-to-day for a recruiter.
Well, I will say, and I'll give a pitch to LinkedIn. So we, when we launched our new candidate experience last year, mm-hmm. We went out early in the year with a LinkedIn API that allowed candidates to register their LinkedIn profile. Mm-hmm. And based on the experience they had, we recommended jobs to them. Talk
a little bit about how you mentioned sort of how a job may be organized as part of this design thinking and this transformation.
I will admit we're still early days. Okay. What we do know is that we can utilize data and information. Data is power. So if we think differently about how work is arranged, anything from understanding what core skills and capabilities and to get work done, through to how much work is required, fractionalization of work, so mm-hmm. gig, through to the right work arrangements. We actually think about how do we use that data set to inform decisions with the hiring manager as part of our intake discussion, but then over time, how the systems will allow us to do that.
Got it.
We also launched that internally to our employees because we wanted to make sure that we had the right balance. We hire nearly as many internal employees into new roles though we do external people coming into the organization. And so we wanted to be able to offer at parity to them those opportunities and change the way that we think about serving up jobs. We're expanding that thinking now. We're thinking more about machine learning and understanding how do we utilize data and information to inform who might be the most successful in those jobs, predict that through past history of hiring success, performance, assessments. There's a whole host of things that'll make sure that we're helping our recruiters make better decisions.
To go into your machine learning or AI algorithm?
Yes, exactly.
Got it. Talk a little bit about how you brought your team along. You said you're this is a new role for you at the
Yes.
company.
Yes.
How did you sort of paint the direction you wanted to go and get people to follow?
I'm really fortunate because we have a great group of leaders in our organization who understand how to set the vision. So we have identified 3 strategic pillars that we're focused on.
Okay.
We may not have solved for every little detail of telling them what to do, but they understand the purpose and the vision and the outcome. So we focus on outcome orientation and what does success look like. We also have this great leadership model that gives them the examples of the types of behaviors and focus areas. And then after that, they go after it. So we have a great story of a couple of folks in our recruitment operations team who sat around and wanted to have a debate about how do they improve the candidate experience and how could they collaborate together to improve the experience. And after a quick little huddle, they decided that the processes in a certain part of their organization were lagging, and they set about to fix it. And we didn't even know anything about it. I got an update when the changes came in, and they said, "Hey, we just saved 2 hours on the process, Leona." And so it's going to affect about 1,500 interns that we're hiring over the course of the next few months.
That is outstanding.
Amazing. And we didn't even have to sort of push them into the specifics. They just moved along with it, but on their own, they solved for it on their own.
What are the next big things with the AI work you're doing? It sounds like you're sort of training the algorithm, but what's happening 2 years from now?
It's a good question because I'm not sure that I know 2 years from now, because I probably shouldn't. I know maybe a horizon from now, which could be 2 months or it could be 2 quarters.
Let's take a horizon.
So we're focusing on, as we think about reskilling the organization and helping internal employees shift their skills. We're looking at how do we leverage more assessments to make sure that we understand what learning paths look like for those individuals, and making sure that we're thinking about where we have critical skills required that are a gap in our organization today. How do we get the recruitment teams to be set up to be successful in those areas?
This has been super interesting. I've learned a ton. So for anyone out there at a small or big company that's embarking on or in the middle of a digital transformation in the recruiting department, what advice would you give them? Maybe 3 big takeaways from our discussion today.
Sure. I would say think like a marketer and a product developer. So design thinking. Put yourself in the shoes of your candidate, and that candidate could be an internal or an external employee, to make sure that you're thinking about how they factor into that process and what their needs are, and how do you support them. I would say don't be afraid of machine learning and AI, because it's your friend. And I would say as you're thinking about transforming any organization, define your vision and what success looks like, and set your team up for success, because they will follow and rally along and be excited about supporting these great outcomes that you're looking for.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, this is a timely discussion. I know a lot of people are facing these challenges in the road ahead, so thank you so much for visiting with us today.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure being here.